It's already happening. We did an episode of Gracearchy with Jim Babka, number 146. It was called The Self-Hating Tea Party versus Thomas Massie. I'm Jim Babka. This is Instant Grace, kind of a miniature version we do of Gracearchy with Jim Babka. In that episode, I had intended to spend a lot more time on Rand Paul, but time constraints kind of got the best of us, and we didn't really go down the aisle because this is kind of an anti-Kentucky Republican conspiracy. This is the people who are standing on principle with libertarian instincts and saying, hey, we need to do the right thing. And sometimes Donald Trump doesn't care about doing the right thing. He just wants to do a thing that he may change his mind on tomorrow or the day after. And you're supposed to follow him point by point and defend and agree to and embrace all of his actions. Thomas Massie hasn't done that. He's had a target placed on his back. We explained in that episode, which we will put the link to in the show notes, episode 146, that Thomas Massie is going to have super PAC opposition. It looks like they're going to spend something in the neighborhood, best as I can tell, about $18 million between now and the primary in May, trying to target and take out Thomas Massie so he doesn't get the Republican nomination in his congressional district. But there's been hints that they're probably going to come after Senator Rand Paul in some way, too. He was disinvited to a party at the White House that every other senator was invited to. He did not receive an invitation. He chose instead on that very same day to do a special podcast, live cast with Tom Massie. They got together and had their own private party that they shared with the rest of the world on video. Now, I say it's already happened because what I wanted you to understand is that the propaganda that's set to come is going to be so powerful, so pervasive, so repetitious, so ongoing. It's going to be an onslaught that it will literally cause people who believe themselves to be more principled, more liberty-oriented, to begin to sour on Tom Massie and, by extension, and to the degree that it's related, Rand Paul. They're going to be like, he's not really perfect, or he's not really my guy. And they're going to start to wear on him because of the relentlessness of the propaganda. And that's why we called it the self-hating Tea Party, because there were people at the founding of the Tea Party that were holding very good values. There were people in the midterm of the late Tea Party era still holding good values. There were even people wanting the president elected in 2024 that had good values. We listed all of them in that episode. We had a list. And the list is there too. You can go. In fact, we made that easily accessible in the show notes of episode 146. Good things that they were asking for, all of which they've turned their back on, all of it, and instead attacked Tom Massie for reminding you of it. And to the degree that Rand Paul is not playing along, particularly in the realm of foreign policy matters, particularly in the realm of Venezuela, they decided to send out their bots to begin attacking, and a viral social media post began making the rounds on various platforms, implicating Rand Paul as one of the politicians taking millions they claim, from the Maduro regime, according to a high-ranking government source. So their source said that Paul received seven-figure segments because he was tied to the cartel. These payments started years ago and intensified. That Paul has publicly opposed the president's plan because he's receiving these payments, and he wants to keep Maduro in power, and that he doesn't care about the number of drug overdoses that are going on in the country. It is clear that there is a regime change operation underway out of the White House. We've had such great American success historically, particularly in the 20th century and in the early 21st century with regime change. It's just gone so splendidly well that this president, who claims that he opposed the war in Iraq, is going to now start another one. And they've tried a number of justifications for doing this. And fortunately, most people can see how botty this social media post is. But this post came out just a few days after we recorded that episode. Just a couple of days, it was already making the rounds. So it is predictable that there's going to be a lot more of this coming at Rand Paul, but a lot at Tom Massie. And you should be aware of it. You should, in your own heart and mind, be aware that you're being manipulated, that this is coming, and that the sheer relentlessness of it will have an impact on your psyche, unless you're turned on, as you have been, because you chose to tune in to Gracearchy with Jim Babka. Either episode 146, which we hope you'll go watch, or just this instant grace. That's the value of tuning in, and we appreciate you doing it.